Economics, Standard 11, Unit 3, Production Analysis continued. Let us learn today isocons. Production function may involve at a time the use of more than one variable input. This is presented with the help of an isocon curves. The two words isocons are derived from Greek language. Iso, quant. Iso means equal. Quant means quantity. Equal quantity of two inputs. And there are four factors of production: land, labor, capital, and organization. And here in our presentation, only two factors are taken, that is labor and capital. So labor and capital are used in our presentation. In economics, an isocont is a curve drawn by joining the combinations of changing the quantities of two or more inputs which give the same level of satisfaction. Isocons are similar to indifference curves, but there are differences too. Indifference curves we learned in the previous unit, consumption analysis. So indifference curves come under consumption process, but whereas isocon comes under production process. And two important factors of production, I mean the inputs, namely labor and capital, are taken into consideration under isocons. But in indifference curves, we remember two different commodities. So what is an indifference curve? Locus of combination of two different commodities or goods from which equal satisfaction is derived by the consumer. And here in isocons, the locus of points representing various combinations of two inputs, capital and labor, yielding the same output. And remember, in indifference curve, the other names, iso-utility curve or equal satisfaction curve. And the other names of isocons are equal product curve or the product indifference curve. And isocons come under production process. According to Ferguson, an isocont is a curve showing all possible combinations of inputs physically capable of producing a given level of output. So in his words of Ferguson, an isocont is a curve showing all possible combinations of inputs physically capable of producing a given level of output. Of course, there are assumptions too. The first assumption is, it is assumed that only two factors are used to produce a commodity. So it is assumed that only two factors are used to produce a commodity. Secondly, factors of production can be divided into small parts. Third, technique of production is constant. There should be no change in the technique of production. And fourth, the substitution between the two factors is technically possible. That is, production function is of variable proportion type rather than fixed proportion. And fifth, under the given technique, without changing the technique, under the given technique, factors of production can be used with maximum efficiency. So factors of production can be used with maximum efficiency under the given technique. So these are the important assumptions of isocons. An isocon schedule just shows the different combinations of two inputs, namely capital and labor that yield the same level of output. So let us now just see the schedule. See combinations, unit of labor, unit of capital and output, that is output of cloth in meters. So combination A, so each we will just take 5 different combinations. So combination A, and unit of labor 2, unit of capital 30, and the output of the cloth in meter the same 400. And combination B, so the unit of labor just increases to 4, but whereas unit of capital decreases to 22. So 22 and the same level of output is given 400. And the combination C, unit of labor has increased 2 more, so 6, and unit of capital has decreased to 16, but the same level of output is given. Okay, and D, so here once again you remember it increases, unit of labor increases to 8 and the unit of capital decreases to 12 and same level of output is given 400. And E, and unit of labor increases 2 more with 10 and unit of capital just has reduced to 10, but equal output is given 400. And this schedule can be just implied in the diagram and to show that isocon curve. So a horizontal line, x-axis drawn, and labor is mentioned, and a vertical line, y-axis capital. So remember, vertical line, y-axis capital. So labor, so 2, 4 and 6, 8, 10 and so on, okay. And capital, so you have to start from 30. So 30, 22, 16, 12 and 10. So now we start from the lower so that you can easily mention here. So capital, so 10, and then so 5, just divide first like that, 5, 10, 15 and 20, 25 and 30. Then it will be easy for us to divide it. So from that is 10. So 10 is mentioned here, and then 12, point 12. So that you have to remember, point 12. Clear? Okay. And then 16, 15 and 16, and then 22, 20, 21, 22. So 22 and then 30. So this can be easily, just we can measure it easily. Now just take 30. So 2 units of labor and 30 units of capital. So 30 units of capital with 2 units of labor. And then second, 4 units of labor, 22 units of capital. So 22, 4 units of labor. So 22. And then third one, 6 units of labor, 16 units of capital. So 15 here, so 15 and then we have 16. So 16 units of capital. 16 units and 8 units of labor for D and units of capital 12. So here 10 and then units of capital 12. So 12. So it goes for 8 units of labor. And then we have 10 units of labor, 10 units of capital. So 10 units of labor, and whereas we have 10 units of capital too. So now the combinations A, B, C, D and E are mentioned. mentioned. So 5 different combinations A, B, C, D, E are mentioned. Now you can draw the isocon curve. The isocon curve just comes down like this. So this is isocon curve, so that we can easily mention it. And remember, that is an isocon product curve can be drawn with the help of isocon schedule. An equal product curve represents all those combinations of two inputs which are capable of producing the same level of output. So remember, that is an equal product curve represents all those combinations of two inputs which are capable of producing the same level of output. We have 5 different combinations, but inputs are capital and labor, so they just produce the same output, 400 meter cloth. So this is easily just proven by the help of the schedule and the isocon curve. So an isocon or isoproduct curve can be drawn with the help of isocon schedule. Let us continue learning isocon math and properties of isocons in the next class. Thank you for listening.